If you need anything, dear, just sing it out.
This week on iTunes, it's literally all things new from Elijah MacDougall. Spencer's Soloduka tells us why he can't fall in love anymore. And just in time for the ECMAs, it's a selection of songs from the island's contingent of nominees. Yous ready, PEI? Let's get her done! Hello, Prince Edward Island. I am your host, Adam Michael James, and you are listening to iTunes for the week of April 28th, 2024. Well, unless you've been living under a rock, a red one, of course, you know that starting this Wednesday, the ECMAs will descend upon Charlottetown. That's the East Coast Music Awards, in case you honestly didn't know. And while we're not going to dedicate the entirety of this episode to it, you will get a chunk of nominees to listen to. And I'll further compensate by giving you the full list of which Islanders are up for awards. There are also ECMA-related shows happening on PEI this week, so I'll hip you all to some of those. But first, a little bit about the ECMAs, because power is knowledge, or however that goes. They were created in 1989 by music industry promoter Rob Cohn, and back then they were known as the Maritime Music Awards. That's because the East Coast Music Association, now associated with the ceremony, didn't come into being until 1991, when Newfoundland and Labrador was added to the Atlantic provinces already represented, naturally Nova Scotia, PEI, and New Brunswick. We are about to witness the 36th Awards Gala, but that first one was a one-day event, which you'd never know now since it's been a 5-day event for quite some time. Statuettes were solely given out in Halifax the first few go-rounds, but by 1994, it was decided the event should rotate through the aforementioned provinces and be held in a different place every year. For anyone not fortunate enough to be in a host city, the ECMAs have been broadcast on CBC television since 2002. We'll get to our healthy sampling of island ECMA hopefuls in a bit, but not before I give you something old and something new. Though I'm not going to bother with the something borrowed and something blue stuff. Okay. First, the new, as in new buildings. Elijah MacDougall helps make them at MacDougall's Lumber Shacks. But when he's not doing that, he's building songs thanks to his skills as a drummer and songwriter. Yeah, he's played on cubic feet and chords of other projects to get our wood puns in, but this jack of lumber went solo in 2022 with his debut album, The Boy Who Would Be, which picked up a Music PEI nomination the following year, 2023, when Elijah also released a follow-up single. Call this the follow-up to the follow-up. It's still got that new wood smell since it just came out on April 19th. This is Elijah MacDougall with All Things New and Timber! Because this is an
iTunes World Premiere.
Oh, my soul. Take a breath. Put your feet up and be. The sea will swell. Then come the day. The wave you dread is gonna crash anyway. So I will wait.
Getting real with the album Reels 2016 to 2021, and its cut I Know Where I'm Going from Golden Cinema on iTunes. Two of its members, Derek Ellis and Andy MacDonald, are refugees from the defunct and about to not be defunct 2 Hours Traffic. Check out the previous episode for Liam Corcoran's announcement of new THT tracks. And it was Andy who came up with the name for this offshoot, as part of his creative process involves working on songs while watching a movie, or at least just after watching one. Hey, I used to do my homework while watching TV, which my mom could never understand, so I totally get it. Reels, as the addendum suggests, came out in 2021, but is comprised of songs recorded between 2016 and 2021. This song was on the 2016 end of the scale. Didn't plan this segue, but speaking of homework, I'm always looking for the connective threads. I graduated high school in 1987, and that's when this album came out. Not that its distinctive 80s sound could have been released in any other time, despite more modern homages and attempts at recreation. Acadian music is steeped in tradition, as well as it should be, but Panu took that tradition and flipped it on its derriere by going for a pure pop sound that often added the era's trademark brassy synths and drum machines. This track stood out to me because it's kind of a mesh between 50s up-tempo doo-wop and ABBA? Tell me you don't hear it in there. From Panu's album Justice et Vérité, Justice and Truth, here's Showtime en Acadie, sur iTunes.
C'est le temps de la fête, place au spectacle, feux d'artifice, couronne le ciel, sortons les chansons, unissons les voix, chansons mélodiques, universelles, la musique fait. Les voix font la 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 la. Showtime en Acadie ce soir. Showtime en Acadie ce soir. C'est l'heure de la fête, de la célébration. C'est l'ordre du bon temps, quelle jubilation. Car c'est showtime en Acadie ce soir. Pourquoi être triste? Pourquoi les larmes? Ne sais-tu pas? C'est contre la loi. L'Acadie en fête, une fierté à renaître. Chantez avec moi une autre fois. La musique fait. Les voix font la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Showtime en Acadie ce soir. Showtime en Acadie ce soir. C'est l'heure de la fête, de la célébration. C'est l'ordre du bon temps, quelle jubilation. C'est showtime en Acadie ce soir. C'est showtime en Acadie ce soir. Oui, c'est showtime en Acadie ce soir.
Lève-toi et danse! Panu on iTunes, going all the way back to 1987 with Showtime en Acadie. Can you imagine what the original Acadian settlers who brought their music from France would have thought of this take on it? Betcha they would fully bust a groove to it, like Totally Tubular. Coming up, a quartet of ECMA nominees, a project that gets back to its roots, and an isletunes flashback with Sarah Siegel-Lazar. When you think about it, all of history is a flashback, whether it happened a billion years ago or a second ago, because we can only ever live in the now, and once that now passes, we have to flash back to it. You even have to flash back to the beginning of this sentence once I've finished it. If that's too esoteric for you, just sit back and enjoy these little flashes back to what happened on the island, all contained within the segment This Week in PEI History. April 30th, 1796. Thomas Heath Haviland Sr. was born in Gloucestershire, England. He came to the island in 1816, and after turns as naval officer, assistant judge, colonial treasurer, and real estate mogul, he was elected to PEI's Legislative Assembly in 1854 and served as Charlottetown's second mayor from 1857 till his death 10 years later. Of course, you know the Haviland Club, which was his manor house, Fairholme, that was designated a National Historic Site of Canada in 1992. May 2nd, 1986. Joseph Giz was sworn in as Premier of the island on this date. He was the first Canadian Premier of non-European descent, and in 1988 called for a vote to gauge public support on the then divisive idea to create a fixed link between PEI and New Brunswick. Y'all know that link as the Confederation Bridge. May 3rd, 1922, island women won the right to vote and hold provincial office. 4 years after that right was granted in Canada as a whole, though Canada had the US beat by 2 years in that regard. Still, took long enough, didn't it, ladies? May 4th, 1860, James Peake Sr. died in County Devon, England. Before returning to his native UK because of illness in 1856, Peake had established himself as one of the largest ship owners in eastern Canada during the first half of the 19th century. He ultimately owned 152 vessels that operated between PEI, New Brunswick, and, naturally, England. Also a merchant, he sold the goods imported on his ships at the No. 3 wharf in Charlottetown. You might have been there. Peake's Quay, anyone? The 2024 ECMA Awards are on from May 1st to May 5th, mostly at the Delta downtown, but also at venues all over town. We'll get into that. But first, let's shine a spotlight on some of the nominees, shall we?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, everybody. This is Patricia Richard from Montcarmel, PEI, from Sirène et Matelot, and you're listening to isletunes.
From the legend of Great Glooskap, from the people of the dawn, this name was given to you, so tender and so strong. Born of storm and fury, from an ocean cold and deep, came an island where the Great Spirit would lay his head to sleep. Abergwin, cradled on the waves, gently rock me home tonight, I'll forever stay. Abergwin, sing to me your song when I hear your lullaby. I know where I belong. Over dunes that line the shoreline, through the black spruce on the cliffs, down in the furrowed fields of red, your melody will drift. Then rise up on the eagle's wings, dive into the sea, to the rhythm of survival and the life you gave to me. In the Strathspey at the Cape, the Acadian complaint, all the heartache of the journey, safe arrival in the dance, all the birds song in the morning, all the boats head out to sea. I can hear the elders calling out the name you are to me. Sing to me your song when I hear your lullaby. I know where I belong. Gently rock me home tonight. I'll forever stay. Abergwin, sing to me your song when I hear your lullaby. I know where I belong. From the legend of Grey Glooskap, from the people of the dawn, this name was given to you. Now you know where you belong. Abergwin, Abergwin, Abergwin.
Thank you very much. Island legend Lenny Gallant on iTunes with Abegwit from his 2016 live recording of his multimedia theater show, Searching for Abegwit. Lenny called the piece a love letter to PEI, and this recording won for ECMA's Folk Recording of the Year in 2017. This year, Lenny is nominated twice, once as a solo artist for Fans' Choice Entertainer of the Year, and once as half of the duo Sirene et Matelot for Folk Recording of the Year. The trio in Echo is all about the fusion. It starts with its members, one LGBT, one black, and one American. But that's only scratching the surface, as these three have built a huge following for themselves, taking the traditional sounds of trad and Celtic and adding their own unique slant to them. Last fall, Carson, Thule, and Tom released their album Hemispheres, which this spring is up for both Instrumental of the Year and Root/Traditional Recording of the Year at the ECMAs. Much of their promo copy promises that their music will make you stomp, clap, and dance. And here's a hootenanny from Hemispheres that'll have you hoppin'. It's All Night Polkas, which is here to echo through yous on iTunes.
If I turn my eyes for a minute, it would make me disappear. And now I step out in the morning, I pull a breath of the cinnamon air. Then I shuffle my feet down easy street, but that don't make life fair. No, no, that don't mean life's fair. And money talks and talks and talks and screams, but it never tells you what it really means. Not for free, let me tell you, there's a time and a place for fighting, a time to keep the peace, another time to walk away with your unresolved feelings. Tons and still all these mouths to feed. That's just greed, and baby, now you know something's gotta change. But what are we waiting for? Pay no mind to your credit line and dig a deeper hole. Fill a deeper hole. Fill a deeper hole.
Doing the Money Ramble with Dennis Ellsworth from his 2023 album Modern Hope, courtesy of iletunes. Dennis probably didn't realize as he filled notebooks full of lyrics and poems as a high schooler that he'd gained such esteemed status on the island, but that's what happens when you release 10 albums and 2 EPs as a solo artist, a collection of collaborations with Kinley, and then there's his 2 albums with his group Haunted Hearts. It was his desire to blend the deepest social commentary of his career to date, shining a light on the strange world we've been living in lately, with finding the good and embracing its power that got Modern Hope nominated for ECMA's Solo Recording of the Year. To boot, the majority of the record was played live as a unit rather than track by track. For over a decade now, the Mi'kmaq Heritage Actors have been Atlantic Canada's premier Indigenous theatre company, and they've shared their stories and songs along with the traditional instruments and dances with enthralled audiences all over the Maritimes. Creating both shows and albums, the group is also known for casting any number of Mi'kmaq youth on stage alongside the adults. It's because of this that they have found themselves nominated as Children's Entertainer of the Year at this year's ECMAs. iletunes now brings you a selection from the Mi'kmaq Heritage Actors 2023 album Sing, Dance, Drum. This is Poetry Song, Upjalasi.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Him right Christian and made him a friend. Yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo. our sisters, what else can we do? We gather at powwows to sing and to dance. We welcome all people to give it a chance. We share our stories and our culture too. Together forever, it's the right thing to do.
Those are the Mi'kmaq Heritage Actors on iTunes with Poetry Song. Be sure to catch, or maybe that's dream catch, their Rhythms and Stories of the Red Earth show, happening at the Confederation Center of the Arts Outdoor Amphitheater July 4th through July 26th. Those are just 4 of 2024's ECMA-nominated artists on what we shall call Team PEI. But there are more, so many more, and here they are in alphabetical order. Ben Chase with 2 nominations, Cavi, Dee Dee Austin with 2, Jen Grant with 5, Kinley with 2, Lee Rosevere featuring Kinley, Noah Malcolm, Sirene Matelot with 2, Tara McLean, the East Pointers with 7, The Umbrella Collective, Tiffany Liu, and Tzu Chang Wang. Good luck to absolutely all of you. PEI represent! Still to come, The Roots Project, Spencer Soloduka and the Tearaways, and Sarah Siegel-Lazar gets into the peaks of valleys, her 2023 album, in an iTunes flashback. Thanks to the ECMAs, PEI is going to have so much live music this week that it's likely to take all the construction blocking up our major streets and finish it from sheer force of will. And I'm fitting to tell you about as much of it as possible in an extra long Gigs to Dig across Prince Edward Island. First, the non-ECMA shows happening this week. Tuesday, April 30th, it's Sarah Siegel-Lazar at Baba's Lounge. Thursday, May 2nd, Absolute Losers, Amelia May, Somewhere Soon, and Sisters are at the Sportsman's Club. Friday, May 3rd, it's Ghost Town, Chamberlain, Little Cities, and Null at Hunter's Ale House. Saturday, May 4th, Absolute Losers has an in-store show at 1 p.m. at Back Alley Music. Also on the 4th, it's the Chasin Family and Friends with A Pot to Piss In fundraiser brunch at the Poorhouse. And wrapping up the 4th, it's Gizmo with Conductor from Sydney, Nova Scotia at Hunter's Ale House. Now for the ECMA shows. There's a lot of them. I'm ready if you are. Wednesday, May 1st, Songs and Stories presented by Vogue Optical, including Ava and Lily, Trevor Lowe Clements and the Barncat Poetry Beat, Benny Vaughn, and Brooke MacArthur. They are in the Delta lobby. Also May 1st, ECMA opening concert, including the East Pointers and 2 Hours Traffic in the Delta Ballroom. Thursday, May 2nd, Songs and Stories presented by Vogue Optical, including C. Ruth and Tzu Chang Wang in the Delta lobby. Also May 2nd, the ECMA Awards, including the East Pointers, Tara McLean, Jen Grant, and Lenny Gallant at the Delta Ballroom. Now this is all going to be Friday, May 3rd, and will be until I tell you it ain't. Songs and Stories presented by Vogue Optical, including Brad Milligan in the Delta lobby, Tunes and Tales at the Trailside, a songwriter's circle, including Dennis Ellsworth at the Trailside Music Hall, Friday night at the church, including Sirene Matelot at St. Paul's in Charlottetown, Canadian music, East Coast style, including Richard Wood at Delta Riverview Rooms, Canadian music, East Coast style, including Lawrence Maxwell at the Charlottetown Beer Garden, and late night at the Trailside, including Absolute Losers, of course, at the Trailside. Now these are all May 4th, so bear with me. Queer Brunch presented by Pride PEI and Peers Alliance, including Joss Rayom, Noah Malcolm, and Brendan Howard Roy at the Delta lobby. Around the World with ECMA, including Tzu Chang Wang and the Umbrella Collective at the John Brown Richmond Street Grill. Blues Matinee, including Dan Dwarin and Joss Rayom at the Salvador Dali. Screamin' Teens, including Death Valley Driver at the Charlottetown Beer Garden. Saturday Patio Party, including Brad Milligan at Upstreet Craft Brewing, I assume the one on Allen Street. Canadian Music, East Coast Style, including Dee Dee Austin and Lenny Gallant at the Delta Ballroom. Saturday Night at the Church, including Noah Malcolm at St. Paul's in Charlottetown. And Canadian Music, East Coast Style, including Sirene Matelot and Vince the Messenger at the Delta Riverview Rooms. For the full schedule and more information, visit ECMA.com.
I'm Yannick from Magnolia.
And I'm Denis from Magnolia, and you're listening to isletunes.
combo of Louise Arsenault and her kids, Angie, Melissa, and Jonathan, on iTunes, better known as the Roots Project. That's Weather My Mind from the appropriately named Family, their sole album that came out in 2014. You wouldn't think it'd have worked. Louise is more folk and traditional mixed with Celtic, while Jonathan digs classic rock and old country, and sisters Melissa and Angie are into hard rock, metal, and alternative. But you take all those ingredients and stir them in with folk as the base, and well, quel ragout! Yummy. I've got something else from 2014 for you while we're at it. Spencer Soloduka. You might know that name. He's the pianist for the group Mercy Please, who you can often catch on stage once our big concert season gets rolling. But before that, Spencer fronted an eponymous group with the Tearaways, which formed in 2013. The 7-piece soul band got their not figurative groove on by combining rich harmonies, bright horns, and powerful rhythms in their live sets. The following year, they put out a 6-track EP recorded and produced by Dan Curry, on which they captured their stage energy and gave each member a chance to strut their stuff. So, get to strutting already with Spencer Soloduka and their Tearaways. Can't Fall in Love Anymore on iTunes.
Anymore.
tearing it up with Spencer Soloduka and the Tearaways on iTunes with Can't Fall in Love Anymore. That's from 2014. Last September, I had the opportunity to chat with Sarah Siegel-Lazar, who had just released her album Valleys. She's known as the femme fatale of folk, and you'll soon be reminded why as we dip into the archives to revisit said chat. And we do this thanks to a little device formerly known as an
iTunes Flashback.
She is the femme fatale of folk, a founder of the Island Fringe Festival, and this summer she has toured from French River to Five Houses. Okay, not really, but I wanted to keep the F alliteration going. You know, we got a thing going. It's Sarah Siegel-Lazar here in the iTunes studios, also known as my basement, to talk about her new album, Valleys. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And as they say in New York City, where you lived for a while, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Trying to keep dry.
Yes. Both of us.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's that time of year, I guess. Anyway, let's not talk about weather. Let's distract people from that and talk about you. If my information is correct, you sent a song into radio when you were 9?
I did, yes.
What motivated you to do that at such a young age, and how did that turn out?
It turned out slightly disappointing, but I had a band with my best friend at the time called The Sugars. We were very influenced by the Spice Girls, and we decided there was a competition in Montreal on Mix 96, which it's now Virgin Radio. It was the big pop station at the time, and we decided that we wanted to submit something, and so we recorded a song that we'd written, the two of us, a cappella on a boombox, and I dropped the tape off. And I think, very rude, never heard anything back.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Right? I don't know that we necessarily should have won, but I think the fact that we were 9 probably should have been taken into account.
I think so.
Yeah. So we thought we were pretty impressive.
You were pretty impressive.
Thanks.
Oh, totally. As I mentioned, your new album is Valleys, kind of like here in the valley of the studio.
Mm-hmm.
You just had your album launch show September 3rd. How did this album come into being, and how is it different from your previous work?
Yeah, it came into being kind of because of PEI and the pandemic. I was usually I'm in Montreal half the year, I'm on PEI half the year, and I was here for 15 months straight during the pandemic, which had its own peaks and valleys. It was an incredible place to be, but there were things that I missed about the big city as well. And while I was here, I do a lot of things, but they're kind of only in the arts, and theater was shut down, and I didn't really know what to do for work, and so I started playing in bars, which I hadn't done since I was 19 in New York. And it was really fun, and I'd actually been thinking for a while of putting music kind of on the back burner and focusing more on playwriting and acting, and I felt I was kind of doing too much and spreading myself too thin. But because the theater scene was non-existent during the pandemic and music was alive and well, it kind of rekindled this love that I have for music and for making music. And so when things opened back up, I took a meeting with a producer in Toronto that I'd been hooked up with, and we really hit it off, and things kind of just sprung from there. But if I hadn't been playing at, Gahan and Mark's and those other places during the pandemic, I don't know that I actually would have taken that leap and decided that that's what I wanted to do.
See, so sometimes peaks do come out of valleys.
Exactly, yes.
Is that where the title of the album kind of came from?
Yeah, the title comes from a lyric from one of the songs. There's a song called Still Waters, and there's a line in it that says, on that uphill climb, there are valleys on the way. And I was really struggling with the title for the album. I hadn't been able to think of anything, and my producer emailed me. It was over Christmas break, and he was like, the album is being mastered in 2 days. She needs the title for the metadata of the album title, so you need to think of something. I was okay with some of the options, but they didn't feel like they were gelling to me. And so I actually went, and I didn't listen to the songs, but I went and I read the lyrics on my laptop. And so I was reading the lyrics, and then the word valleys jumped out at me, and I was like, yeah, in so many ways that's what most of the songs on this album are about. Whether they're about relationships or other things, they're really about kind of those highs and lows and peaks and valleys, and the fact that usually you see yourself through on the other side, like through these hardships, that on the other end of it, usually you make it out. So that's why I chose the title.
Speaking of even Miami is cold, I like the implications that the title sets up, the visual and almost, I don't know, you can almost feel it, you know. So tell us more about it.
Yeah, so I went on a trip to Miami. I was in a long distance relationship, and we decided to meet in Miami for a trip, and it was horrendous. It was truly, I can laugh about it now, and I could laugh about it shortly thereafter, but I couldn't laugh about it in the moment because the whole relationship just fell apart over the 5 days. I was so stressed that I was shivering in this, 30-something degree heat. I got back to Montreal and I didn't really have a lot of time to process it because I had this big show going up at the Seagull Center, no relation. One time, I was getting ready to get up and walk out the doors, and I just had this little line in my head, like, baby, when I'm with you, even Miami is cold. And I was like, huh. And I said it as a joke to myself, and I was like, it's not a bad lyric. And then the rest of the song kind of just fell into place. So in a lot of ways, that song is a metaphor, and in a lot of ways, it's actually a very straight telling of what happened on that trip.
But still, isn't it an amazing thing to be able to take something that happened to you that was unpleasant and turn it into a song like that?
Yes, but the problem is now when I go through a very upsetting breakup and I don't get a song out of it, I feel very jilted. I'm like, excuse me, we went through hell and nothing came from it.
You feel like I did something wrong.
Yeah,
I didn't get a song out of that.
Yeah, I've been waiting 3 years for one particular song to come to me, and maybe it'll take another 20 years, but I'm like, I am owed that song.
The album is Valleys. The femme fatale is Sarah Siegel-Lazar. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
As I mentioned at the top of the gig announcement, Sarah's got a show at Baba's Lounge this Tuesday, that's April 30th, and you never know, she might polish up this song for you. It's also from Valleys, and you gotta love the title, If This City Were a Man. And it's hanging out in this city known as iTunes.
If the city were a man, all my friends would keep on telling me to leave him. It's like the city is my man, and every time he swears he'll change, I could believe him. Gives me enough, but oh, it's tough, 'cause every time I make the threat that it's over, I'm a rover on the 401 you bet. But I keep hoping things will change, 'cause the city is the best. But sometimes what you love the most is what is making you depressed. If the city were a man, my whole family would stage an intervention. It's like the city is my man. I make excuses like he's got the best intentions, telling everybody don't understand he's something special, and one day you'll see he'll go and live it to his full potential. Oh, whoa, whoa. If I leave and I come back, then I'm a failure. I was made here, put my faith here, thought that it could be my savior. But every step I try to take seems there's a detour in the way, and suddenly a year's gone by and everything has stayed the same. Relationship would have to become open, 'cause this city can't fulfill me, cannot thrill me like it used to, like I'm hoping. All the pills and all the alcohol not working anymore. Just your mind I left behind all my best years. That's the scope. I'd leave him, say I need to grow. If the city were a man, damn, we'd have broke up long ago.
The SSL, or Sarah Siegel Lazar if you want to be old school about it, with If This City Were a Man. If it was, I think you'd probably have a hard time finding it with GPS. But what you won't have a hard time finding is my full chat with Sarah, and it's a video at that. It's waiting for you on Patreon, where you can become a subscriber for $5 a month and help support this podcast. Because, so far I've sunk tons of my own money into this, trying the 4 digits. Hit up patreon.com/isletunes, or if you'd rather skip the subscription stuff and do a one and done, or maybe donate as often as you like, you can do it through PayPal at tinyurl.com/isletunespaypal. I know food is outrageously expensive and gas keeps going up and up again, so whatever you can do, I very much appreciate. Maybe you heard the Islanderism at the beginning of this musical outing and thought, hey, I know some of those. Record yourself saying one, or multiples, and send them to amj@isletunes.ca, or leave them on a voicemail at 902-807-4250. I'll start a show with you, just like I did here with Jackie Robichaux. Hey, I hear this social media thing is starting to get popular these days. Who knew? So how about following iTunes on Facebook and Instagram? Not only will those rising numbers feed my ego, you'll find posts where I include links to where you can buy the music you hear on the podcast. The artists deserve a little love for their efforts, do they not? You can also find these links on the webpage, isletunes.ca. Oh, back to following. If you're listening on YouTube, hit subscribe, would you? And the bell, which will let you know as soon as a new episode goes up. You know how they say no comment from the peanut gallery? Well, come on, peanut gallery, comment. Or make a suggestion for the show, or a request. To remind you of the show's contact information, it's 902-807-4250 or amj@isletunes.ca. I would say operators are standing by, but I'm the only operator. Do operators actually still stand by? Musical contribution to the iTunes theme by Kaylin McCauley and John Hashem. Show concept by Rocky O'Neill. Coordination assistance by Jackie Robichaux. I'm Adam Michael James, and that's episode 38 in the books. What's up for 39? Well, it's going to be Cinco de Mayo, so we'll salsa with the music of some of the island's Latin artists. And since by then all the ECMA awards will have been given out, I'll play y'all a sprinkling of winning tracks. Think you can handle it? If you can, then you can also handle this episode-ending expression, be good. And if you can't be good at it. See yous next week.